أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. This is the 10th and the last chapter of this book, In Search of Infinity. The title of the chapter is Light Upon Light, meaning Nurun ala Nur. Before we moved to Iran, materialism and feminism had a deep impact on me, particularly regarding the status of women in Islam. I had too many questions related to feminism and women's status in Islam. I had read some novels which dramatically emphasized how women were tortured in Islam and had the status worse than animals. I was very intrigued and I tried all possible ways to find the truth. However, there was very little information available about it. Somewhere at the back of my mind, these questions continued to bother me, even though I had a stronger feeling that there must be a perfect answer available to all these accusations and doubts. Moving to Iran gave me the opportunity to explore the answers from different sources. I read many books on this topic. If I found a convincing answer about hijab, immediately a question about inheritance would pop up. If that is answered, then the question about women being witness in the court would pop up. And if that is answered, it spirals back to hijab again. I spent hours talking to teachers, having various discourses with them, acting as a common man. I cross-questioned the point of view of Islam and argued strongly against it. After hours of discussion, I was still not convinced by the answers. I felt there is something essential missing. Then I let go of the questions and allowed them to be dormant for a while. As part of our curriculum, we started studying theology, that is, aqaid. The first section of the course deals with proof of the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Tawheed, and then the Sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is only when I studied Tawheed and the Sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deeper that I realized what was that core essential thing missing in my understanding of the answers. It was the poor understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His characteristics that led to all the questions and doubts. The deeper I studied Tawheed, the better I understood all the answers that I rejected earlier. When I revisited all the answers provided by Islam regarding the status of women, hijab, inheritance, witness, etc., it all made sense to me now. Because now I was seeing it from the purview of Tawheed as against my earlier purview of materialism. Tawheed solves some of the foundational issues. When the foundation becomes stronger, all other issues related to feminism, etc., seem superficial. It was only when Tawheed was resolved for me that I felt convinced and confident regarding all the rulings of Islam, not just related to women's issues, but regarding everything else, about Salat, Saum, Hajj, Zakat, Khums, everything. Having spent more than 10 years in Hausa, we have counseled many individuals and families and spent hundreds of hours answering questions. Some of the families that approached us were pious families. However, we noticed that most of the families couldn't follow our advice. They felt it was impractical. Some of the pious families said that though they want to follow Islam, they're not able to practice it well. We were quite surprised and intrigued. We started looking for root cause. After hundreds of hours of questioning and analysis, we concluded that the fundamental problem lies with the fact that there is a lack of clear understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Tawheed. The lesser the families knew about it, the stranger they felt regarding the rulings of Islam. The families who had a better understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Tawheed easily accepted the rulings of Islam and were able to practice better. Hence we focused all our energies on trying to understand Tawheed better and trying to propagate Tawheed better. There is so much to learn. Coming here itself was a migration from darkness to light, and gaining all this knowledge is light upon light. There is so much depth to the Islamic knowledge that there is no end to learning. One can never claim that they have studied complete Islam, and there is nothing left to study anymore. One might claim that they might have completed their course in fiqh or usulul fiqh or history, but one can never claim that they have completed their studies in aqaid, because it deals with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is infinite, and the infinite is never ending. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj.